people just tuning in. I'm streaming on YouTube right now, and breaking down some songs and answering questions and stuff. So, you guys on YouTube hear me and see me? Let me know if you can. That's coming. We're gonna be going over that. Especially if you don't have toilet paper. Okay, YouTube people can hear me. Can you hear music right now? Hi, Spain. Dang, you're from all the way in Spain. Thanks for being here. You can hear music playing on YouTube. Okay, cool. Jimmy, if you go to YouTube, you'll be able to hear music. On this IG live right now, you shouldn't hear music because it's just in my headphones and it's streaming to YouTube.
Numb the pain to avoid what's inside my
I can barely hear you
head.
on YouTube, only music. Okay.
I can't be alone for
Hey guys,
another
I'm gonna
night.
jump
Just
just
me
to
and my thoughts,
YouTube.
and I need something to fix my
Or maybe I'll leave
mind.
this open. I don't know.
Alone
But
for
mainly,
another
I'm paying
night,
attention
need
to
something
YouTube
to
now.
fix my mind. I've never really liked me much, always doubt my stuff, never felt enough. I don't know why it hurts, but it does, to always be high and up and medicated. Medicated.
Okay, I think apparently I need to turn up my mic. Tell me if this is louder. If my mic's loud enough now. Is that better? Yo, what's up, Austin? I'm streaming this on YouTube, making some music, breaking down some songs. Okay, it's better. Cool. Okay, guys, I'm going to end this IG live right now. But if you want to see how I make my songs and such, go to YouTube right now. Love you guys. Oh, also to find my YouTube channel, just search Adam Turley on YouTube. Pretty simple. Okay, sorry, YouTube people. I'm done with the Instagram stuff now. My phone's about to die anyway. Alright, okay, I think we're good. Guys, let me know if anything's like distorting, if the audio is distorting or and such. I don't know if I did things too loud or if the gain staging is working. Also, I should have eaten this sandwich before. I'm sorry you have to hear me chew. Alright. Let's get started. Okay, what do you guys want to do? What do you want to see? If anyone has questions about anything, then let me know what you want to do, because I'm down for whatever. If you guys want to like start making a beat from scratch, you can do that too. Or if you have specific questions about anything in the way I do it, drop them in the comments. Can I talk about vocals? Yeah, of course. Do you have like a specific question about vocals? Okay, sounds like you guys want to hear how I process vocals. So it's for sure different in every song, but I have, I guess, like specific techniques I use often. Would it be more helpful? Like, do you guys want me to break down like a vocal that I've already mixed and show you like the vocal chain and such, or would you rather me like take a dry unprocessed vocal and like mix it? The plugins, EQ, if you ever double them. Try to finish. Okay. Cool. I'll take a vocal and I'll leak you guys. I'm gonna leak a unreleased song that I just finished, like tracking the vocals and editing the vocals to, and I haven't mixed them yet. So we'll go through like a demo of how I would mix the vocals to this new song, if that's cool with you guys. And then if you have any like, if you want to, I see someone wants to see the chain from the problem, I can show you guys that stuff too. Also, I see your comment about going through Rewind. Keep reminding me about this stuff because I'm down to do all that. If my computer lets me, because I was having some issues with CPU earlier. I'm just going to delete these, I think. And I'm going to bring these vocals in that I just finished. Add-in projects. By the way, if you can't see, if it looks like I'm not doing anything, I'm just sharing my Ableton window. So if, like right now I'm in Finder, I think I'm just sharing Ableton, so I'm actually in Finder going to find these vocals. This song. Okay, dry vocal stems. We'll just start with the leads. If they're in here. Did that work? What the heck? Can I export them? Dang, I thought I had these. Let me see if I can export them real quick. In the meantime, I'll go over like a vocal chain that I finished. So I'll go over the problem. Let's see. Where are you? Okay, the problem. Mixing session. Okay, it's gonna take a sec for that to load. Go through a project, something you've done already. Mix it, yeah, dry. Jimmy, do you sample weird sounds and plug it into a keyboard or whatever? I've been wanting to do more of like getting like a Zoom recorder or just like sampling random stuff. I've done that, like I created like a sample pack for myself where I just sampled like a bunch of household items that I've used on stuff. Or like in my, I don't know if you guys have heard my Rewind late night version, but a lot of like the percussion fills are just me like voice memoing. I think I had like a pen and I was like tapping. I knew the rhythms I wanted in my head, so I just like tapped on my desk and got some cool stuff that way. But yeah, I definitely sample a lot. Hiram asked where I get my sounds. So the majority of the sounds that I get are off Splice, like most producers. it's just the best. And I find that I like to find packs, like full packs that I really like, and then I'll download the whole thing, and then I'll add them to like my Ableton library, my Ableton browser. And Splice is also super helpful for just like searching for exactly what you want as well. But like, if you can find like a really really solid good pack on Splice, I just download the whole thing. I'll show you guys one I found the other day. It's like so many. There's so many good sounds in it. How do I organize and color code tracks? If Ableton will load, I'll show you. It's loading up a project right now. It's just doing the spinny wheel thing. So I just have a certain color for my drums, which is usually like a blue, and then my bass is I have a bass group which is orange, and then I have my like synth group or like my all music group, which kind of changes. Right now it's like yellow, and then my vocals are a different color. Every project's kind of different, but yeah, that's organization is super important for me. Like if a product's, I mean, this depends on the producer, because like I know of a lot of people that like their projects are insanely unorganized and they work fine that way. But I have to be able to see, like, things have to be like condensed and collected and organized for my brain to be able to like. It's kind of like the thing where if my room's messy, like my room's a disaster, I can't like focus. I kind of feel like that same way in my sessions. Why do I set up my tracks that way? For organizational purposes, and also, okay, we'll see if this will play, and also for like routing. So like usually I like process my drums on a drum bus. Like I'll do group processing to each of those things, whether that be the vocal or the like the synths or the drums, if that makes sense. Like I have this radiator plugin on all my drums in this song. So this is the mixing session. We'll see how much of this will play. I might have to turn off the master. Honestly, I'm just gonna start by turning off the master, because if you have a lot of processing on your master, it makes Ableton go way slower. By the way, I might plug in the second monitor so I can see you guys' comments real time. Let me just do that right now. I'll drag this up here. Okay, and Nemesis is asking if I mix and master my own tracks. So it just depends. Like, I put out an EP, like all my first singles, except for my very first single, I mixed and mastered myself. And then I put out an EP last year called Mood Swings that has like rewind, ADD, clouds, when the lights go out on it. And I got that whole EP mixed by someone else, mixed and mastered by someone else. And then every single since then, so like the rewind, late night, what else did I put out last year? 17, Be Right Back, The Problem. I've mixed all those myself, and I got them mastered by someone else. So it just depends. It can be expensive to hire. Like, my mindset is like, if I'm gonna hire someone to mix my song, like I want them to be a really, like they have to be like way better than me at it. You know what I mean? So, and that's not cheap. So, a lot of times with my current situation, it's not practical for me to hire a mix engineer for every single, because I want to put out music consistently as well. So just right now it makes more sense to mix myself. And I like mixing quite a bit. Okay, so I'm gonna unfreeze some of these, and some of these plugins aren't gonna work because I had some issues with like waves and stuff. But I'm getting like an error thing saying that the video might not be smooth. So let me know if there's like tons of issues there. But let's see if this will play.
I call you, don't wake up. I guess I see you in the morning.
It's probably really quiet. Is it really quiet?
You run, I can't keep up. How long can I keep holding on until you're already gone? Can I call you mine? 'Cause I don't have much left to give you up.
I don't know how that level is. It like feels to me like it's a little quiet. Let me know if it's super quiet and I can turn that up more. But
Call you, don't wake up. I guess I'll see you in the morning.
okay, kind of quiet. Let me know if it gets too loud, okay? Um, but my processing for this vocal is just some light EQ. My chains get kind of crazy, and I don't know. I always feel stupid like showing people my vocal chains because they they're a little extra. Um, and it's not because I bet there's a lot of engineers and like mixers that can do the same thing as me with a lot less plugins, but I usually just like do a few things and then I'm like I think of it as like sculpting. Like I'll get the vocal sounding a certain way and then I'm like, okay, this is good, but like I want it to do a little more, so I'll add another plugin on it. And it's like usually none of the plugins are doing crazy stuff. It's all like subtleties that kind of add up. Um, okay, it's too quiet. I'll turn it up even more. Let me know if that's too loud now, okay? But I just start with a de-esser.
I call you, don't wake up. I guess I'll see you in the morning. It's good night, just goodbye. You run, I can't keep up. How long can I keep holding?
This is followed by an RVox. I don't know if you guys know this plugin by Waves. It's not coming up, but I probably just use that for a gate. So every time the vocal is not saying anything, the gate comes up and it cuts out the audio. And I love the gate on RVox. I don't know why. It's like one of my favorite things to use for vocals, just to cut out extra noise in between words. I just cut out a little bit of 1.1K here. It's literally 2.3 dB, so nothing crazy. And then I use this compressor. I love this compressor on vocals. No matter what emulation or version of this plugin, it's always pretty solid. And I use like a medium release and a faster attack.
I call you, don't wake up.
I know that's lagging.
I guess I'll see you in the morning. It's good night, just goodbye.
Doing about 10 dB of reduction there. I find that I think this is important when mixing a vocal. After you compress a vocal, a lot of the low end will come back. So, like if you're gonna EQ before your compressor, just recognize that after you compress, the vocal is gonna a lot of that low end is gonna like come back, and the frequency shape of it is gonna change after compression. Compression like kind of messes with that a little bit, in a good way or bad way, depending on what you're going for. So yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. Like I have the same plugin after doing the same exact thing, but like this is the point. Instead of like putting one compressor, one CLA 76 on there, like doing 20 dBs of gain reduction, I have a few compressors that are like all like helping in and pitching in to do the same job, if that makes sense. Which makes it sound a little more natural and a little less smashed. Not seeing the plugin settings when you open them. Oh, does it not even show the plugin window? Here, let me see if I can just do my like desktop capture, display capture. Let's see. Tell me if this is any better, guys. How do I fit this? Transform. Okay, let me know if you can see stuff now. Hopefully that's better. Anyways,
I call you, don't wake up. I guess I'll see you in the morning. It's good night, just goodbye.
This one's doing a little bit less compression than the other one. And then I have this FabFilter Pro MB, which is a multi-band compressor. And basically all that means is that it's like, instead of compressing the whole signal, it's like compressing different frequencies independently of one another. So like when it gets really loud between 100 and 400 hertz, it's gonna just compress that band. And when it gets loud really high up on the frequency spectrum, it's just gonna compress that. So I'm kind of using this as a de-esser of sorts to kind of get rid of some of the harshness. And I find that it's helpful to multiband compress in this like low, this like 100 hertz to like 500 hertz area, because it gets a little woofy sometimes. So I like to do that on vocals. For those not familiar with Ableton, this is basically the same as like using a send. So I'm basically using parallel processing, or dude, I suck at explaining stuff. But I have this doubler on it. So I use this preset called Pensado Vocal, and basically it's taking the like vocal signal and it's detuning it a little bit and delaying it a little bit, and it just makes things like sound wider. So if I'll show you what this effect is just in of itself. I'll turn it up a bunch.
I guess I'll see you in the morning. It's good night, just goodbye.
I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's like super wide. So if it's done subtly, it can just add some dimension and width to your vocal, so it's not just like straight up the middle mono. And this isn't something I do like on every song, but it fit on this one. So I did it, and then I just have some subtle compression here.
I call you, don't wake up. I guess I'll see you in the morning.
I don't even think it's doing anything.
Good night, just goodbye.
And then on this guy, let's see. And this guy, we really just have the same thing going on. It's the same exact chain. And I'm assuming the same one here. A lot of times, I mean, it's helpful to have like different sections of your song on different tracks, because sometimes you sing the chorus differently, or the vocalist saying the chorus differently, and like, you know, maybe they have more like low end in the vocal, or the frequencies are different. So I think it's super helpful to have them on different tracks if you need to adjust anything for those specific sections of the song. But is there anything else you guys want to see? I can show you like the background vocals, or I'm not sure exactly what else you guys want to see with this one. What mic am I using? I'll show you my mic. I'm using this guy. Oh, can you guys not see me? What the heck? Oh, you can't, huh? Oh, you can see me now, I think. Oh my gosh, the glare from the light. Anyway, it's called the Manly reference cardioid. Is the chain on the verse and the chorus the same? Yes. Show background vocals. Oh, I can also show you Heather's. Can you show Obi Ben's vocal chain so I can copy it? Yeah, I'll show you. Everyone go check out my little brother. His artist name is Obi Ben. He's super talented. Okay, I'll show you background vocals. I can also show you Heather's as well. So I really wanted the chorus of this song to have like this really stacked feel, and I believe I processed these in a different session. Yeah, I like compressed these in a different session, probably in the session I recorded them in. So I don't have like the chain on me right now, but it wasn't anything crazy. The trick here was like having a lot of vocal layers doing the same thing. I'm talking like I probably had like 12 doubles total, and just making sure they were like really tight with the lead vocal rhythmically. So, and that's something that I do a lot with background vocals. Is this is at least my taste. Like I like doubles and background vocals just to be like super tight with the lead vocal. I feel like it sounds really clean and pro. So there's a few tools I use to do that. I sometimes use like a plugin called Vocal Line. You guys have probably heard of that. I feel like the most effective way to do it is to use something like Melodyne, where you have like total control over over the timing of everything, and you can manipulate the timing and the rhythmic aspect of all the vocals that way. So I just doubled those a ton. I have these harmonies. Oh, that's what I did here. So I have like full voice. I'm singing full chest voice here. Sorry, that's lagging. You can hear I'm like chest voice, and then I layered the falsetto ones on it. Not right there though. So that gave that like airy feel to the background vocals. And then I have harmonies, which are really dry. And as you can tell, like this project has so many tracks. This is my highest track count for sure, even though the song is like relatively simple. 176. That's why this is struggling so bad to play. I'm sorry. And that's why I had to like process vocals, especially with groups, like group vocals. I had to process them in a different session and just bring them in. And I have to do that sometimes if my CPU's going too crazy. I don't even have my master chain on either, and this is still struggling. And then I just have some doubles, which I also processed in another session. So yeah, that's the background vocals. Heather's vocals were super simple. She sent me, I was really surprised when she sent me her vocal and it like already, because I knew like she didn't have anyone mix it. She was just doing it herself. And they already sounded like super good. So like for example, her main vocal, I thought it already sounded really good. I just put a de-esser on it. And obviously I added some reverb and delay and stuff. And then on the group, for all her vocals, I have another de-esser, a bus compressor.
And I know that you're feeling lonely, but I only have so much time. And now I'm walking on a wire.
So I have that.
I promise I'm not ignoring.
I have an EQ, taking out some 300.
When you say, can I call you mine? 'Cause I don't have much left to give you.
I have a limiter on here. This is really interesting. I've been experimenting with this lately. I don't know if you guys saw that video of Skrillex going through his Ableton session on a couple of his tracks, but he was using this preset in FabFilter Pro L called Vocal Transparent ATK or MTK, and he was like using it on a bunch of stuff. So I tried this on my vocal bus, and it made things like a little smoother. Like those peaks that jump out, it kind of like tamed those a little bit, and I thought it sounded good on this song. So I used that. And then this plugin's freaking sick. It's called Oxford Inflator. And I can't explain what it does. It's like kind of like a limiter. I don't even know what it does, but if you turn up this effect knob and turn up the curve a little bit, this is pretty extreme. I don't know why I pushed this much. Especially if you put this on like your master, it like makes things sound like a little more full and a little louder, and it's really, really sick. And it's fun to use on vocals sometimes as well. Someone want to see the guitars. Oh, what reverb am I using? Dude, my go-to reverb, I'm telling you, is Valhalla Vintage Verb. And it just sounds so good. And like, I don't know if my ear's just like so used to it or what, but it's it's so it's just so like lush and like not harsh, and it's just so good. On I don't think I don't think I've mixed a vocal, like I've mixed very few vocals without Valhalla Vintage Verb, if any. Um, and I use a plugin called a preset. I don't know if I used it on this song, but there's a couple presets you should check out if you have this plugin. The first one is called SP Amazing Vocal. This preset is so amazing. I love it so much. And then the pop vocal is great as well. Um, and yeah, so that's my go-to reverb. If I want to do like really long, like like a reverb throw where I just want the reverb to like to the tail to like jump out, or some people call them bursts, like on one word. I really like this preset on FabFilter Pro R called Huge Synth Wash. It's under very large Huge Synth Wash. I just take the space, the decay time to like, it starts at like 20 and I take it down to like 8 or 10. And you should check that one out too. It gives you some really cool, like really bright, really crispy reverb tails that are really fun to use. So yeah. Anyways, I'll show you guys the guitars. What's a limiter and what does it do? Okay, Caden answered for us. Yeah, so basically a limiter is like, it's kind of like a compressor. Basically what it does is it stops an audio signal from going past a certain point. So if the audio signal like goes, let's say you set your limiter to a certain, -5 dBs, every time the signal that's running through the limiter goes above that threshold, it's called, it's going to turn it down. It's not going to let it pass that brick wall, if that makes sense. So it's just like turning down the signal every time it gets too loud. Okay, I have a bunch of crap here. I'm sorry, guys. So the guitars, I think these are the guitars. Let's see. Okay, so I don't have any processing. It's all group processing, apparently. And I recorded these guitars through something that's called a Kemper. I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's basically like a physical pedal, guitar pedal that I have that like it emulates different amps. So it's basically the same thing as using something like Guitar Rig or any amp simulator. And so I kind of got the sound that I wanted before before recording them through that, and then after we're just doing some group processing. So some compression, some OTT. Also, if you turn the time all the way to the right, or like the farther you go to the right on OTT, it makes like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like gating the effect. Like, for example, if you're going to use OTT on like a percussive sound, like let's say like some drums or something, and when you turn up the amount on OTT and it doesn't sound how you want, mess around with moving this time to the right, and I don't really know how to explain what it does, but just take like a drum loop, turn OTT on and put the amount at 100, and then mess with this knob and see what it does. It's super useful, especially for that kind of stuff. It basically allows you to like use more of the mix or the amount on OTT without it sounding terrible. It helps not like destroy the transients and like make the sustain of the transients like crazy. Just have some EQ. So I use this preset called, I actually made this preset, or I found it on Reddit or something. It's called Fletcher-Munson curve. For those of you that aren't familiar, basically there's this curve. I think it's made by this guy named Fletcher Munson, or he discovered this, or this is his philosophy or concept or whatever. But there's certain frequencies that like are harsh to the human ear, and this EQ curve is supposed to basically make something sound less harsh. So obviously I thought that the guitar sounded a little bit harsh, so I used this preset, I went to it, and then I think I took this gain scale down a little bit. You can mess with like how basically, it's basically a mix knob. I think I took that down a little bit. And then I'm using some Valhalla Vintage Verb directly on the track here at 9%, 1 second decay. And then I use the Ozone imager here just to make things a little wider in these two bands mostly. So that's where like most of the information lies for them. So yeah, dude, those are the guitars. In the, let's see what these are. If they'll play. We just have some power chords. These are just as is. I added that plugin again, the Oxford Inflator, and then their sidechain to the kick. And then for like the guitar sound and the drop, whatever, the post-chorus, you have this vocal chop. Jeez. Yeah, that's not playing. I'm sorry, guys. Basically, I have that vocal chop that's playing that melody, and then I have these guitars. Oh, dear. They're just playing the same thing as that vocal chop lead. Yeah, guys, this session isn't running very well, so I don't know if we're going to be able to stay in this project much longer because it's lagging so bad. Yo, Adam, with all your serial compression with your vocals, how do you keep your vocals from becoming thin? So if I'm compressing a vocal a lot, I actually find that it gets like thicker. That's not to say that like you should like over compress your vocals, but that's usually not the issue I run into when compressing a vocal. It usually doesn't get too thin. It's like the contrary. It'll usually get like that low end, and those low mids will usually be brought up. But in general, if a vocal is getting too thin, it's usually it's usually something I can just fix with EQ. Or you can, if you want to get nerdy about it, you can use like an exciter or like a saturation plugin to kind of excite those lower frequencies to make something have more body, Or it just might be a matter of like not cutting so much of lows out. Ethan Carling. Yeah, guys, he's not a know-it-all. He's just trying to help the chat out. Dude, thank you for explaining what I could not explain. Yo, do you guys have any more questions about this project? Or is there anything else you want to see in another project? Do you guys still want me to go through and like mix a vocal from scratch, or would you rather do something else? How do you test your mixes and masters? Do you test the song on a bunch of different speakers, headphones? Yeah, for sure. So I definitely think it's really important to test your song on a bunch of different systems. At the same time, make it a goal to really understand what good mixes sound like on your setup, whether that's headphones or your monitors in your room. You know what I mean? You need to understand like what does a good mix, like let's say you're trying to get your mixes to like you want the low end and the kick and the bass like to hit harder. Understand, listen to a lot of music, good music, that's mixed well on your speakers and understand what that sounds like on your setup. And I find that like once I figured that out, my mixes will translate a lot better to other systems automatically. And I think it's important to go check those systems as well. But but yeah, make that a goal to like really get a grasp on that. I think I think I have Corona. This might be a little ambitious, but can you walk us through a mix? Um, I totally can, and I'm so down. The only thing I'm worried about is like this. Every time I finish a mix, I usually have a lot of stuff going on, meaning like plugins and stuff, and I don't know that the session will really play well, if that makes sense. But if everyone wants to do that, we can totally try to do everything with just studio speakers. Not necessarily like there's a lot of people that um, are amazing mixers that mix on headphones. You know, I think it's more just about whatever you're mixing on to just know those speakers or headphones like really well, like the back of your hand, to where when you're mixing, let's say you're mixing for someone else and someone sends you stems and you start playing the drums and you're like you need to know like you need to be able to recognize if those drums need to hit a certain different way on your speakers in order for them to sound good. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just about like understanding how good mixes sound on your system. And I don't know everything, by the way, so take all this with a grain of salt. So how much gain reduction for your vocals total again? Nick, what's up? Thanks for joining, man. Dude, I don't know. I don't really think about that. I don't typically. I know, like, especially when I was like learning, I know that so badly as a producer. We all want these like one size fit all answers for a lot of our questions. Like how much gain reduction on a vocal, or how much should I compress this or that, and it's really just about training your ear and experimenting. Because I never think about like how much gain reduction I'm going to do on my vocal, or that's not a thing that I think about. It's really just like how much compression is it going to take, or how little compression is it going to take to get this vocal sounding the way I want it to, or the way that I hear it in my head. If that makes sense. Rewind late night breakdown, vocals and guitars. I can do that. I think that project's not crazy anyway. So we'll do that. Hopefully this loads for us. Rewind acoustic. All right, let's try to open this. If you guys have any questions that I can just answer, we crashed. Of course we crashed. If you have any questions that I can answer while that's loading up, then just fire away. Do you prefer Logic or Ableton? So for most things, Ableton 150%. I just like it a lot more. I can get my ideas. I started on Logic, and I used Logic for producing for a while, since like high school, so like a few years. And while I think it's totally legitimate, I know so many producers that use Logic and they're amazing. So like I'm not saying that anyone should switch. Just for me, when I switched to Ableton to produce, like there were just several things that were like game changers for me that really helped me progress and get my ideas down faster. So I still use Logic for vocals, for tracking vocals, recording vocals, because you're able to like record one part of a song multiple times, and it like organizes them into takes, and then you can choose the best like words or parts from each of those takes. It's called comping vocals, and Logic has that function. Ableton is not as easy to do that at all with compared to Logic. So I find that like I can get the best vocal takes and like best final vocal using Logic, or like Pro Tools can do the same thing, but I use Logic just because I already have it and I know it. Okay, guys, I'm about to open this. Might take a second. Do you guys like peanut butter and banana sandwiches? And I think if there's any questions I didn't answer. Also, if you guys have any music that you're working on that you like want my feedback on or anything, if that would be helpful to you, then let me know too. I'm down to listen to some stuff on stream. Oh no, I ran out of water. No way. You're eating this too? It's the best. I recently got back into them. I'm gonna go fill up my water real quick. I'll be right back. Oh no, is this still not loaded? Hopefully we're almost there. I need to find a better way to do this, or just get a better laptop or something. I was trying to figure out how to stream off of one computer and then have my Ableton on another, but I couldn't figure it out. Would you listen to my song called Distance? Yeah, is it already out? Will you send a link in the chat for me? Not banana PB with water. Dude, I know. What do you eat it with milk? Because I actually would probably prefer milk. Holy crap, this does not want to load. Year. Come on, computer. I think it's finally doing it. And we in. Okay. What do you guys want to see? What did you say? Vocals and guitars. For sure. Let's go through this. I'm gonna see if I can freeze a bunch of stuff or something. Maybe not. I'm just gonna take off the master. That should help. Milk is for sure the move. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. I should have got milk. I'm a disgrace. Okay, we'll go through the vocals real quick first. So I have all the vocals, all the leads. I think I just have on one track on this song. I didn't split it up. I think it's because it's something newer. I've started doing more recently where I split up the vocal into different tracks. You know, I'll have like a verse lead vocal and then a chorus lead vocal and a bridge lead vocal, just because I can have more control that way. But I'll just play this soloed.
Where did you go? I need you badly.
Let's have a de-esser.
Are you far from home? Do you think about me?
Cutting out some lows and some
It's
low
hard
mids.
letting go of you.
This is a plugin called the Renaissance Axe by Waves. It's a guitar plugin. It's actually a guitar compressor. But it just sounds good on vocals. I have this in my when I record vocals in my Logic session. I have this in like my template. I don't usually end up using it in my actual final mixing session. It's just something I have on my vocals when I'm recording in Logic. But it sounds good. You guys should experiment with it. And I love plugins like this that are just so simple to use. You just pull down the threshold. It's like there's like 3 knobs you have to mess with. There's not like an attack and a release, and you kind of just pull down a knob and just adjust it to taste, you know. So I have that compressor. Let's see how much that's doing actually.
Where did you go? I need you badly.
So not a ton, just like 3 dB. And then
where did you go? I need you badly.
Once again, this one's just kissing it. It's just like 2 or 3 dB. It's not doing anything crazy. I literally have one, 2, 3. I have 5 compressors on this vocal. I don't know why, but let's check it out.
Where did you go? I need you badly.
Same thing. That one's doing a little bit more, but it's nothing crazy. Like I said, when I compress, this area tends to get louder, so I brought that down a little bit. Using RVox, like I said earlier, I love this gate.
Where did you go?
And I am doing
I need you badly.
Doing some compression as well. And then this one's doing a lot, I think.
Where did you go? I need you badly. Are you far from home?
So I can't really explain my thought process in this because it's so weird. Like I don't think I go into this mentally thinking, oh, I'm gonna put 5 compressors on here. But I just got to this point, you know, maybe I put this compressor on, I was like, this is sounding pretty good. And then later on I make these decisions, oh, I think this like needs more compression. And instead of just adjusting this plugin and compressing it more, it's just easier for me to just put another plugin on there, because then if I want to undo what I did, I can just take that plugin off instead of trying to like adjust this one back to where it was, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'll show you the dry vox. So this is how they sound dry. Let me make sure there's nothing else on. Okay.
Where did you go?
Right, let me turn off our reverbs and stuff.
Where did you go? I need you badly.
And then with the processing.
Are you far from home? Do you think about me? It's hard letting go of you.
So this vocal is pretty compressed. It's pretty dang smashed. I have I remember when I was mixing this. I think I automated this mix knob on a certain part of the song. Yeah. Um, I don't know what it is. I might be just be tripping, but I feel like you get a certain sound um, by putting a reverb plugin directly on a vocal, and then like when you raise the mix knob, it's really cool. I think it's because it's taking down the volume of the dry signal when you raise the mix knob, and it just like makes things sound cool and washed out. So on this part in the second verse, I thought it was cool to automate this. Hold on, let me play it a little bit before so you can actually hear it.
But I can't let go of you. Did you know you
So that part was just like really emotional, and I wanted to like accentuate that and do that. Um, Vocals and guitars, show us the dry box. I did that. It's like adding more salt to a recipe. Exactly. In a non-destructive way. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the way I think about it. Like it's a recipe, it's a sculpture. It's not something that it's something that I can like if I don't like that effect or I feel like it's actually not helping the vocal or the song, I can go back and delete later. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, Ethan, but dude, thanks. So the guitars, I get so self-conscious when I walk through my projects. I'm like, you guys are gonna think I'm a crazy person. But acoustic guitars are like the hardest thing. I've struggled for years to like get acoustic guitars to sound good to me. I don't know. It's just like I think I always tried to do too much to them. Um, and I tried to like compress them and I found that at least for me like doing less to acoustic guitars, trying to get a clean recording and doing a little bit less um, is actually the move. And so I had these acoustic guitars doubled. One of them is 38 left or almost hard left, and the other one's panned right. And these are two different takes, and the reason why there's all these slices in here is because I wanted these guitars to sound so tight, like one sound. I wanted it to sound just like so cohesive. So I had to go through and find like every transient, like every pluck, finger pluck or whatever, and align them to the grid as best I could. Um, and I'm telling you, especially for like a pop sound, something you want to sound like polished and tight, it's so important to do this crap. Like for you to chop up your stuff, get it sounding tight. Like I get even for like people that I like mix for and stuff. I spend like half the time like aligning things rhythmically because that's the arrangement and like these kinds of little edits and stuff are gonna do more for your song and your mix than like the mixing itself. I promise you. If you get like better at this kind of stuff and be more intentional about this stuff, like it'll just make your songs way better. So this is kind of stuff that is like tedious, and I probably didn't want to believe that I had to do before, and it's probably not always necessary, but just knowing that sometimes you have to do this kind of stuff and actually doing it, like I feel like it's a helpful thing to know. So I did that through the whole song. This took me like 5 hours to do. And obviously, if you just have a guitar loop that's looping through the whole song, then you could just edit like this much of it and then just copy and paste it or whatever. But I wanted like my actual take of the whole song because I kind of play different parts differently and stuff. Carling, bro, I think the most overlooked thing in vocal processing is getting a clean recording. Getting fan noise to a minimum and getting rid of room tone is huge if you compress a noisy vocal. Dude, seriously, that's funny that you say that because this week or last week I was recording a vocal, and right before the hook I have this vocal that everything cuts out, and it's just the vocal that starts the hook, right? Just a completely dry, no reverb, just the vocal in silence. And I was hearing my room a ton in that. And I usually don't have problems with that, especially if my productions are like kind of dense and there's a lot going on. but I could hear my room and it was bothering me, so I had to get a blanket and put it over myself and put it over my mic and just cover myself with it, and that worked for me. So whatever it takes, you're so right. If you have a crappy sounding vocal to start with, then say goodbye to having a great sounding vocal. It all starts in the source. Just so you know, my man, the link is in the chat. Absolutely take your time. Sweet. Wait, I don't see the link. Does anyone see it? Am I looking in the wrong spot? I see. There, maybe I can just find it on Spotify. Random chance. Literally got a pen and paper taking notes. Gotta learn from the best. You guys are awesome. That's flattering for sure. Let's see. Distance. Okay, I'm gonna play Random Chance's song. Chance is based in Florida, I believe. I think I'm correct. So yeah, dude, I'm excited to hear this. I'll give you some feedback.
Look outside, wish I could see your face. I would walk all night just to feel your embrace. I'm 1,000 miles away, but I wanna be yours always. Will you please promise your love will stay? Can you see the light? I'm shining from space, yeah. You know and I know that this thing ain't gonna be easy, but baby, believe me when I say that I would do anything. No amount of distance and no amount of space can change us or break us. So baby, won't you stay? Yeah. Please don't go, we're not done yet. I know that things will get hard, but don't be upset. I would do anything to be in your arms, and I'ma be right there when your times will get hard. Please don't go, don't give up yet. I'll take care of your heart, just promise you'll stay, yeah. I would do anything to stay in your arms, and I'ma be right there when your times will get hard. Wishing I
That was tight.
had you right here, right now.
I like that thing at the end of the chorus. Dude, that's sick. That sounds so good. As far as feedback goes, I think the main thing that my ear wanted to hear, maybe as far as like a mix critique, I guess, that I think could be improved was, especially in this style of music where it's like pretty poppy and stuff. I felt like I wanted that vocal like a little more out in front, a little more in my face. And remember that that's the most important part of your mix usually in most songs. So make sure that that's loud enough, and compression helps a lot with that staying right in your face and every word being audible. But dude, that sounds solid. Did you produce that yourself? By the way, if anyone else has any questions or anything you want me to break down, I remember someone was saying they wanted me to break down Rewind, the actual song. I'll show you, before I go over there, I'll show you guys the plucks in the chorus of this that are pretty cool. Let's see.
See you is on my phone.
Oh dear. That does not want to play. Okay, where are these at? It's so funny. This project is kind of unorganized. I don't know where anything is. Let's see. Oh, these are cool. These are cool sounding. So I think I played this on the guitar normally, and then I pitched them up an octave and like chopped them up. This is the sound I'm talking about. So I played that like on a lower octave, pitched them up, and then we just have some EQ. I didn't even use that saturator. A compressor, another compressor probably. Some more EQ. That EQ is not doing anything. Some more EQ. Sorry guys. Oh, I also like basically duplicated that track and I put Little Altar Boy on it and I pitched it back down to where it was before and turned up the drive. So just that signal sounds like this. It'll play. And that's layered with the high one. And then you just have some OTT, two reverbs. What is going on? Sometimes I just like throw stuff on, guys. I'm sorry. This is a mess. It's really, this is the kind of stuff when I'm like in the production flow. I call it like the flow. It's like my mind just going a million miles an hour. And so things are kind of crazy because I'm not thinking too technically. I'm just throwing stuff on and like I know I want more reverb or I want to do like a reverb throw on one part and I'm just like moving as quickly as I can because that helps me to stay inspired and stay motivated and like if I'm worrying too much about technical stuff or like even worrying about how many plugins I have on a track, then it's easy for me to get out of the flow and I like to stay there, you know. And I just have some EQ. I'm assuming I'm adding some high end maybe. Am I doing anything? Oh, I'm adding some low end actually. Some 100 hertz. And that's it. And then I'm doing a reverb throw, which if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, that just means like on certain notes, I'm sending this guitar to a reverb. So you'll hear it on these notes. Never mind, it's not gonna play. I'm at my highest sample rate, guys. I'm sorry, I need to figure something out better for the next time I do this. But yeah, I know my computer's really struggling. I almost hit you up, Nick, to see if you had any tips on how I can make this run smoother. Dude, random chance, of course, man. Anytime. Happy to give feedback. Is there anything else you guys want to see in this project? Or should I hop to a different one? Or should we make something from scratch? What do you guys want to do? While I'm waiting for your replies, I have to pee so bad, so I'm gonna go pee real quick. I'm back. Do I have a daytime job or do I do music full time? So I work a day job. I did music full time for like a year and a half maybe. I stopped doing that like about a year ago now. Um, and it was sweet to go music full time. I enjoyed it for a bit. Um, I mean, eventually that's where I want to be, right? But I was doing when I say I was doing music full time, I was doing a lot of like work for clients, like producing for other people and stuff. And some of the projects I really liked and was passionate about, and a lot of them I wasn't. And so I got to the point where I wasn't having a ton of fun doing music most of the time, and I just was like, I'd rather work a day job, and then just be able to focus on like putting out original music, and like be completely there and passionate while I'm in the studio. So I made that transition about a year ago. Hopefully soon we'll be full time again. But um, yeah, I love working on other people's stuff. I just like I have to be feeling it. I have to be passionate about it. You know what I mean? Or else it does feel like a job, and I always wanted music to feel really fun. So maybe seeing what plugins go on your mix before mastering would be dope. Cool. Yeah, we can definitely look at that. Are you my long lost twin? Because I was thinking the same. um, let's see. Yeah, for sure. What do you mean? Just like, do you just mean like on individual tracks, or do you mean on like my master, like my mix bus, like on my master channel? What exactly are you referring to? Because I can just go through and show you kind of stuff that I use on certain sounds through the whole mix, if that's what you would like. Yeah, Nick, that's what I was thinking. Um, my friend Chase just barely filled me in on that, but it was too close to the stream for me to like find one and get it figured out and stuff. So I'll definitely try to figure that out for next time. So yeah, what specifically do you guys want to see as far as mixing goes? Mix bus. Okay. Cool. So I'm like always experimenting with different mix bus chains. Um, and there's definitely no one way to do this. I'm a nerd about this stuff, so I'm like constantly watching videos and trying to learn about like um, what the top engineers are doing, or the top mixers. And mix, some of them have like very minimal or nothing on their mix bus. Like there's a guy that mixes a lot of hip hop named Leslie Braithwaite, and like I've watched some of his stuff, and like he barely uses anything on his mix bus. And then there's other people like Jason Joshua and other people that like mix. They start their mix with some pretty significant processing on their mix bus, and they mix into it. And I definitely fall into that category. I've done that for a long time, and I just feel comfortable like putting stuff on the mix bus at the beginning and mixing into it. Just helps me like very quickly achieve that like radio ready glued sound. I don't know how to explain it, and it just helps me kind of get to my end goal. So that being said, I always experiment with different stuff. So on this one, I'm cutting out everything below 67 hertz just on the sides. So this is kind of technical for any of you that are beginners, but basically you can process just the sides of just the stereo information, and you can process just the information that's mono, and you can process those separately. So I'm cutting out the low end of the sides, and that just helps you get a louder master usually, because you don't really need that low end information on the sides of your speakers. And so I usually cut that. Ableton's multiband compression plugin is the best thing in the world. I love it so much. I use this a lot on my mix bus, usually around 50-60%. and it's something that I mix into a lot, and that just sounds good. It's one of those plugins that you just kind of stick on and adjust one knob, and it sounds great. Here, without getting too technical, what am I doing? I just split the frequency spectrum. Basically, I wanted to put a compressor on my whole mix, but I didn't want to compress the bass. So in Ableton, you can do this thing where you can basically split the signal into two different signals. One of them is just the low end, everything below 150 hertz. And the other one is everything above that, all the rest of the signal. And I'm just compressing my whole mix. This probably won't play, so.
When we were closer.
Yeah, we're gonna stop it there. So I'm compressing with a couple different compressors. I'm using that Waves SSL compressor. I'm not doing a lot of damage here. The release is as fast as possible. The attack is as slow as possible, because this is called the cross-eyed setting, how these knobs, the attack and release, are pointing each other like cross-eyes. Generally a good setting for your master, because you don't want to kill the drums, like you don't want to kill the transients on them. You want them to be punchy. So this helps you to get that kind of glued, mix without compromising your drums. And doing some subtle, I'm never doing a lot with this compressor. By the way, these are like plugins you can buy, but there's a lot of people that get great mixes and masters using a lot of stock plugins. So definitely don't feel like you have to go buy this stuff, but at the same time, this stuff has helped me for sure. And then this plugin's sick. It's by Waves. It's called the ARTG Mastering Live Stereo something. And I just mess around with presets on this. Like this, there's this preset by Dave Pensato called, oh no, this is by someone else. Oh, by Aron Lavi, called Make It Pop. If you just put this on your mix and just mess around with some stuff, you can get some cool sounds. That being said, like, don't go too heavy-handed on your mix bus, because you can totally ruin your mix. A lot of the heavy work is usually done in the mix itself on the individual tracks, and this stuff is kind of just to add that extra sparkle or that extra glue or volume or whatever you're going for. And I had Ozone here, which doesn't want to pull up. I don't know what I was doing. I was probably using the Imager. And then FabFilter Pro L2, which is just my limiter to make it loud enough for Spotify and stuff. And I don't think I did like a proper master on this one. I think I just limited it and sent it off to Spotify. So that's what my mix bus looks like on this one. What are my go-to compressors for drums? So let me show you a cool drum chain that you guys can like experiment with on your drums. I think it's pretty sick. I came across it recently and I've been using it a ton. So let's just like build out a beat real quick. Let's just go find some samples. Here, I'm gonna open Splice. You can just pull some stuff. Actually, I have some of my sounds that I think are sick. So Let me just add like a hat loop or something in here. I just want to give you guys an example. Let me grab another little snare. Okay, cool. We have a loop going on. I'm just gonna throw like a synth loop over this or something. Let's see. This one will be fine. Get 150. I'm just gonna sidechain this to the kick, so we get a little bit of pumpiness. Cool, so as far as drum processing goes, I can take this loop, right? And first you want to like make sure that like the relationship between these elements, like you want to make sure like, you know, your relationship volume wise between your kick and your snare and your hats like is kind of the way you want it. And then let's see if I can find this. I've been messing around with this drum chain lately, and it gets things sounding pretty sick. Okay, be right back. That crazy Star Wars sounding lag thing going into the second chorus. Okay, I'll for sure. That project is insane. Like when I was mixing that one, like I could barely press play. It was doing that thing you guys kept hearing when I was playing projects. Like I did like half the mix like that because there's so much going on in that project. I can show you how I did that though, just in this project. When you're starting a new track, where do you like to pull inspiration from? What elements do you typically start with? That's a good question. So it depends like how I'm starting the track. Sometimes I start by making a beat, and in that case, it's just like a lot of times I'll pull up like Omnisphere or Serum or like some synth or some sound, and I'll find like chords that inspire me, or usually that's how it starts. Other than that, like sometimes I'm in the car. Like I wrote 2 songs last week that I was in the car. They started by me voice memoing like a vocal idea that I had in my head, and I just put it into my phone. And in the car, I don't know how to explain it, but like I basically, this sounds crazy, but I basically like, no, I didn't write the whole thing, but by the time I finished that voice memo, I had created in my head a song that I knew exactly how I wanted it to sound, at least like the vibe and the melody. And all I had to do was come home, and I knew where I was gonna go, and I just had to make it. You know, I just had to like put it into Ableton. That doesn't happen all the time, but that's like definitely the way to go if you can kind of have an idea of what you want to make beforehand, and then you just have to execute. You know what I mean? So, what I've been experimenting with is in Ableton. You can let me know if this is confusing to you guys, but what you can do is use something called parallel compression, um, where basically you're compressing your drums really hard, but you're only mixing some of that signal in with the actual dry signal. So I'm gonna like change this to like drums smashed, for example. So those are really smashed, right? And then I'm just gonna mix in this signal with it. So if I take this off, obviously you're getting some volume difference too, but this is a really cool tool to use. You can use any compressor to do this and just compress the signal really hard and then just mix it in with your drums. Also, this plugin is so sick. I can't emphasize this plugin enough. It's called the Black Box HG2 or something. And it's just like a saturation plugin. It's crazy, so I'll show you what it does. It just adds this like saturated, like cool vibe. It really excites your drums without taking away the transients. These are all cool stuff to stick on your drum bus. Another thing I do often is I'll just stick one plugin on it. It's called the Radiator by Soundtoys. And if you just drive your drums into this, they get really like nice and crunchy and cool. If you push this output, you can hear that it gets louder, but it also gets like crunchier and more distorted in a cool way. It's not like bad distortion, it's good distortion. So these are all things to like mess around with. And at the end of the day, guys, it's like a lot of this is just taste stuff, you know what I mean? It's like what sounds good to you. So yeah, that's the stuff that I commonly use on my drum bus. But the main thing is finding good samples. So T Crisp, you're asking how to find the good stuff on Splice. That's a difficult question because it took me a long time to really like know what a good sample sounded like, if that makes sense, or like what's a good sample. It's so, you know, relative to each person anyway, but it takes a while to like be able to learn like what samples sound good. What I would suggest doing is keeping a folder of sounds that you know they're good sounds. Like there's no doubt in your mind that that's a really good sounding snare, or that's like a great sounding kick. If you ever come across that stuff, just save it. Like I have this best stuff folder where I have like a lot of my favorite 808s. You know, this is stuff I use all the time. Or I have like a bunch of, I just go through sample packs and I like will take all the kicks that I like and I'll just organize them, you know? But if you guys want like a really good pack, especially if you're trying to make like pop stuff, I just found this one that I personally think is so good. How do I find this? Can I filter? Let's see. Recently added this pack. Refined sugar low-key pop feels. Everything in here is just like, especially like these one shots. These all just sound so crisp and good to me. Like, I'll tell you that I think all this sounds so money and good. So go check out that pack. And yeah, honestly, there's a lot of really high quality stuff on Splice. I feel like it's kind of rare, in my opinion, to find like stuff that just sounds like crap, but I totally could be wrong. Yeah, do you guys have any more questions about how I do anything? Oh, I was going to show you how I did that thing and be right back. So if I take like a vocal, let's see, what vocal. Fun fact, I use this sample in my song called It's Alright. So if I wanted to do that effect to this, I think you guys, Jordan, I think you guys use Logic, but I'm trying to think of a way to show you how to do this. I think you can do the same thing with the Tremolo plugin in Logic. But in Ableton, I just took the AutoPan plugin, which usually would do this kind of effect. Listen. Hear that going from left to right. And all you do is you're going to take the shape. No, it's the phase. Move the phase, which makes it like come in and out with volume, right? And then all I did was I just automated the rate here, which is like how fast or slow that sine wave is moving or modulating it. So if I take this and I automate this, does that make sense? So you're just like doing that slowly. You can combine this with a filter too, which sounds pretty sick. Where I do the same thing with the filter. I turn the resonance up. Maybe drive a little bit. Oh shoot. This is a very EDM thing to do. Shoot, that's loud. You know what I mean? I'm not going to drive as much. So that's how you can get cool effects by that. No reasons, but might be changing soon. I don't know what that means. Maybe I said something that you're responding to. Yeah, do you guys have anything else you want to ask? By the way, lately I've been like, a lot of times I'll start a song too. Like I'm a songwriter at heart and like a singer-songwriter. That's like how I grew up and how I know how to make music best, you know? So a lot of times it's like I might start, producing a track or making a beat, but I'm just really creating like a vibe that I can then write the song over. So let's say I was writing this song, I would start with this loop. Let's bring this over here. Maybe I would just start with this loop. And then I'd start messing around with melodies, And I would usually write the whole song over that, or maybe like I'd have a beat over it. I'd start producing the song really, like the bare bones, like the fundamental elements of the song. I would start producing as I am writing, which is really fun to do because by the time you finish writing the song, a lot of time sorry, my mind blanked. Oh, by the time you finish writing the song, like the production, at least a lot of the main elements like are done too. So it's fun because you you finish a song really quickly. Reasons by Propellerhead. Is that a song? I'm still so confused. Let's make a scratch from track if you got time. Yeah, for sure. Let's do it. Let's do it for sure. I am drinking too much water, so I have to pee again. I'm sorry, guys. I'll be right back, and then we can make some music. Okay, I'm back. Reason. Oh, is it Reason? Do you guys use Reason? I don't know who makes that. Reason Propellerhead. Oh yeah, Reason. Cool, dude. I don't know a ton of people that use Reason, but I have met a few people that use Reason and really like it. Okay, let's start something from scratch. I don't know what I want to make. I've been wanting to make a song in this like tempo that's like kind of the 2 Chainz tempo. If you've ever listened to him, it's like 105. Hold up, I gotta hook up my keyboard. It's not hooked up right now. I've been wanting to make like kind of a more urban track like that. So let's start this off. I'm gonna create a drum group, and I'm gonna grab a clap from this pack. Let's try this one. I think that thing sounds good. Oh no, I accidentally pressed the 3 button. Cool. I'm gonna throw some hats in here. Dude, Jordan, thanks for tuning in, man. Thanks for all the questions. Appreciate you, dude. And sleep tight. kind of like this sound. I want to shorten it though. Oh, I think I need to download it. Oh shoot, I think I did the wrong one. It's that one that I want. Yep. I don't know if I want the whole thing to play though. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm gonna auto pan this. I feel like I don't usually start with drums, man. I just know that I wanted this kind of tempo and that kind of feel. So I might like try to find a guitar loop or something. Sometimes I would record or something like this, but it might be fun to mess around with. No, I might go to Splice actually. I don't think you can see my other screen. I'll bring it down here. Dude, sometimes I just click on the first thing it shows me. By the way, if you guys have any suggestions or comments or ideas, for sure let me know. Alright, let's see what we got here. I'm looking for something in this relative tempo as well. Could be cool. Oh, that might be tight. It's actually a really dope fill. That roll. It's tight. Let's go back to sounds. Might start with something like this though. Something sampled and mess around with the sample or something. Sorry, it's kind of loud. Dude, I don't know exactly what vibe I'm kind of just experimenting. I might take this and try to like play some chords under it or something. I have this preset for a piano that I write on a lot. Let's see. You know what? I might start with a just like a respace or something. Oh, this is so quiet. Let's see. Dude, I'm not feeling this loop. I'm not feeling this loop. I'll look for something else. I feel like this one could be a cool intro to a song. What the heck? Oh, I keep dropping it on the wrong track. It's doing the sustain pedal thing. Do you guys ever have this issue with the sustain pedal? So, oh my gosh. Why don't they ever... Okay, whatever. Let's try this. I'm just gonna start with let's try this. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's quantize this guy. Do I ever do features? Yeah, dude. Have I done a feature yet? Yeah, I just did one with. I just did one with Heather. I guess it was like technically both of our songs, but I've done that one. I did a feature with this kid named. Oh, do you mean like do I feature on other people's tracks? That's probably what you're talking about. What just happened? Oh, that's why. Okay, what else should we do here? I've been loving this preset that I have in Serum that sounds like an upright bass. Where's it at? Bass. It's one of these finger basses. Feature on other tracks. Yeah, I do. I haven't a ton lately, but if I love like a track or love an instrumental, I'm totally down. I just have to love it, you know. Ooh, that could be cool. Doing a little. That was alright. I think it's right here. I'm gonna make a voice memo synth here, where I just record an ah or something. I'm gonna send her to myself. And then I'm gonna bring her in right here. I'm gonna auto tune this, so it's just a really steady note. And then we're gonna freeze and flatten this. But Mata, dude, yeah, dude. I don't know if you had some features in mind, but always feel free to send me music. I'm always down to listen and see if it's the right fit for us. You know. Let's see. It's kind of future house with diverse melodic and sense. Yeah, dude. Of course, send me stuff. Adam at adamturleymusic.com. You can send me stuff. Um, I'm just putting a bunch of effects on this. Oh yeah, for sure, dude. Type that out in the chat. Did that work? Oh, isn't it typing? Oh, there we go. Or what if it does? Wait, I think I did that chord wrong. Oh shoot, I did it. So it's a pretty cool vibe. If they ever release the .music domain, you should absolutely register Turley.music. Dude, that would be so sick. You would be the first person to know, I feel like, because you know everything. So as soon as they release that, tell me. I could see you producing a track that would fit on the Chainsmokers World War Joy album. Dude, thanks, man. That's a good album. I liked a lot of the songs on that one. I'm gonna grab this 808 that I like. I think it sounds really good. And I'm gonna drop it in here. I'm gonna take the bass notes. It's too low. this, adding a kick under here. A little kicky kick. This one probably will sound good. I'm gonna side chain this just for the time being. To the kick drum. I feel like that kick is kind of long, actually. Might grab a cleaner one. Which I'm just gonna go this pack. I love so much. Oh, I guess I can just go here. Where we at? Drums. Kicks. Yeah, that one's just so nice. So thumpy. Just gonna drag this to match my 808 pattern. See what shape we're in. Oh, we're in the wrong key, dude. There we go. Oh, that'll be tight. No, that's too much. Oh, maybe that's when that synth comes out. And this one. Or maybe I bounce that out and then resample it. that. Or maybe I filter it more and chop it, maybe? If I solo this with the drums, I wonder how it sounds. Dude, I haven't tried the new COD Battle Royale though. I've been wanting to. If you're down, we should play sometime. Maybe I can take a little. Maybe we have it's come out, so no, maybe this filters out right here. I wonder if it's better for those just these just to come out here. Let it go. Cool little one shot right there or something. Won't you say things all the time? No, say things all the time. You come on, on the sidewalk. Then maybe it all comes back into what the? Just trying to copy this, maybe I stick like a loop in right here or something. I'm gonna boot this, by the way. Oh shoot. Call this music. You should try chopping ethnic vocals and pitching them up. Super great for ambience atmosphere. Dude, sick. Do you have any like packs I should check out? I know Casimir has a bunch of that stuff. Vocal ethnic. Try it. Oh, this could be cool, dude. Oh no, we crashed. We crashed. Oh, how did we crash? Oh shoot, yeah, I do want to recover. Yes. I hope I didn't lose any of my stuff. Dude, I hope we didn't lose it. Still got that. I think we still have everything. Let's try this thing. Let me try this with the get this in it. I'm gonna stick a delay on this so it's like has a pre-delay, so it's kind of late. Let me turn it off sync. We're gonna double reverb this. Oh, this is gonna be sick. I'm also looking for like a guitar strum sample, something super simple. It's loading on us. Oh, that's super dope. I might see if I can use that somewhere. Oh, that's dope too. Honestly, maybe I might just break out the actual guitar though. Recently added. Let's see. This thing was just so dope. We could use this somewhere. Let's use this. That's tight, dude. I want everything to cut out right there. Oh wait, what if it went? What if it went like this? It's like. Dude, yeah, that would be sick. Do some electric guitar plucks. I'll try that. The only thing is it's gonna be like super delayed. Let me see. You'll have to tell me how loud this is. Let's see. Can you hear that? Can you hear that guitar at all? Or no? I'm not sure if you can. We're gonna try it. But like have it start between the 3 and the 4 beat, if that makes sense. So 1, 2, 3. Just on that part? Or do you mean like before, on the 3 and 4 before this whole section? Or do you mean that it doesn't start playing until halfway through this, if that makes sense. This is for sure delayed. This is so delayed. Yeah, I don't know why you can't hear me actually recording it. But yeah. Dude, it's getting kind of late, and I still have to finish tracking some vocals for a song, so I think I'm gonna hop off. But let's play what we got. I feel like this could be actually a really cool track, just like a very simple, chill, more urban leaning track. Verse vibes right here. Oh. Let me see if I can figure out what you're talking about. Kind of like that. Oh yeah. And then these would stop. Anyways, it's a decently cool vibe. Don't know if we'll use it for anything. Maybe, maybe not. But for those of you that are still with me, if anyone's been with me this whole time, thank you guys. Sorry if I was a little clunky. This is my first time doing like a production live stream. Definitely need to figure out how to make my computer run better for next time. But yeah. Love you guys. Thanks for the support. Bro, dude, I don't know if you say it Mata or Mata. I'm not sure. You're gonna have to tell me. Fill me in on that. But dude, thanks so much for sticking around. Let's play some Call of Duty soon. Alright, I'll catch you guys later.